Welcome to another episode of Business with Passion. Each show features guests who have transformed their long-term passion into a successful business. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton Roth. My marketing strategy business grew from my love of talking with passionate business owners. In this series, I share their passion with you. So if you're looking for inspiration to enhance your business passion, keep watching.
I've been working with couples and individuals for 27 years, and my passion is to really help people have an aha as quickly and easily as possible. And for couples to heal in their relationship, for individuals to be able to bring more joy and intimacy into their lives. And that's really what my work has been about. I was 27 years old when I took my first personal growth workshop. It was a weekend workshop, and it was mind-boggling and spirit-boggling. And it changed the way I perceived myself, my relationships, and the world. And I began doing this kind of work shortly thereafter. Another woman and I got together, someone else I had met at that weekend workshop, and we began to do our own workshops. The first one was called Healer, Heal Thyself as a weekend workshop, and then we developed some other programs from there. The next one was called Journey into Ecstasy, and then the third one in the series was called Mastery with Grace. And we began to teach that workshop in Hawaii. We would take about 30 people over and about once a year and do a week workshop there. In 2003, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I had surgery scheduled 7 weeks in the future. And I didn't know if I would make it through the surgery or in what shape I would be if I got through the surgery. And it was really a time to reflect, obviously. And I asked myself the question, is there anything that I regret? Is there anything that I wish I had done that I hadn't done? And the answer was a resounding yes. And it was a question I could no longer avoid. And that was that I had always had a passion for writing, but I had had an equal and even greater fear of being rejected for my writing, of my writing not being good enough. So I had kept putting it off in my life. And now, with perhaps 7 weeks left to live, I realized that there was no time to put it off anymore. So I made a commitment to myself. I did my bargaining, but instead of with God, I bargained with myself. And I bargained with my ego, and I said, if I make it through the surgery, then ego be damned, I'm going to write. And I began doing that in earnest. And 2 years later, I finished my first book, Enough is Enough, and it was published. And I actually should say it's my second book, because I had another book that I had written years earlier, the Blue Book of Grammar and Punctuation, and had been self-publishing that quite successfully for many years. But this self-help book was inside of me, and I knew it was inside of me for so many years. It was all the things that I teach my clients and that I teach in workshops, and I really wanted to offer that in the world, so I did it. I now have a radio show on Green960 starting in January, and I'm going to be having an hour call-in show called Ask Jane from 4 to 5 p.m. on Saturdays, where people can call in and ask anything they want about relationships, and I'm hopefully there to help them. And then the other hat that I wear, my alter ego, is as the grammar guru. And as I had said, that I put out the Blue Book of Grammar and Punctuation, and it's actually become a bestseller, kind of in spite of my lack of marketing skills. I put the entire contents online, and yet the book sells phenomenally well in schools and in businesses and really around the world. It's become an English as a second language book for many people. And I put it online, the entire contents online, because I wanted people who might never have access to books or might never be able to buy books to be able to learn the English language and learn it enjoyably, hopefully. So although everybody said don't do this, don't put the entire contents online, including my publisher, everybody gave in, and it's been a wonderful experience to have that. I go to public places and I put a couple of flyers on tables, and then I sit and allow people to come and talk about whatever issues are going on for them, and we talk for about 5 or 10 minutes until there's the experience of an aha. And the way I got started doing this was in New Orleans. I was asked to come there by a friend, and help the people of New Orleans. And I was very nervous on the plane going there because I wasn't really sure what I would have to offer these people who had been through a kind of trauma that I had never experienced. So I kept it pretty open-ended, and I found that if I just sat down like in a public park or a cafe or a store, that people would come up and start talking. And this got me thinking that can't we all use this everywhere? And why have this only behind closed doors? So we are at the North Point Cafe in Sausalito, and I'm just about to do my On the Couch, which is really a virtual On the Couch session with anybody who comes in and wants to sit and talk about an issue and have an aha in 10 minutes or less. And this is something that I go around the country doing as a way of giving back to the community. One of the places that I do this in, and I'm about to fly off to do this in, is New Orleans. And this is something that I also offer in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live for the community. And one of the things that I do to help people really kind of get a jump start on what their aha is going to be is I use these O cards. And these O cards have two sets of cards. One is a word and one is a picture. So I ask someone to think about what is the issue in their life that they want to have some reflection on, some answer to, and then they pull a card of each and they get a word and they get a picture, and they get to have a dialogue essentially with that word and picture to understand more what it is they need to do, whether it's forgiving themselves for something or being more compassionate with themselves, letting something go, making a new agreement with themselves, a new commitment, a promise, saying they're sorry to somebody, whatever that is. It's usually something that comes to people pretty quickly, and it's really amazing to witness, and it's really an honor to be part of. Why don't you think for a moment about some question or concern or issue that's in your life right now that you would like to get some clarity on today?
I don't have to think, I know.
You already know.
I already know.
All right, you ready to pull the cards here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so why don't you pull a word card first and see what comes up.
Oh, anger.
Anger.
Perfect.
Interesting. Okay. That down there. Perfect. Okay.
Picture card. Or a picture card. I have a green light to go.
A green light
Light
to
to
go.
go.
Let's show
So that means I'm
here.
supposed to go ahead with my anger?
Well, maybe. Why don't you tell us a little
don't
bit
know.
about what this is telling you concerning your issue?
My issue has to do with a stepdaughter.
Okay.
I actually have 3 stepdaughters. I raised all 3 of them, but I have one who is now 24, and I don't really know what I had said or done, but decided since last April to have nothing to do with me.
But when you have anger, it's not really possible for us to just go, okay, now I let it go.
Right.
And especially when there's anger in the form of resentment. And really the process of resentment is very important to look at, because underneath every resentment we have for what's been done to us, there's also a personal regret that we hold. Mm-hmm. So what I want to ask you to do is just check inside for a moment and see if there's some place inside of you that you can recognize here that you regret, something that you did or didn't do, not necessarily even with Melissa, but
Right.
for yourself,
So.
something you did that where you felt like you weren't true to yourself, or something you didn't do on behalf of yourself, that you're sitting with that regret right now. Can you identify that?
Yeah, I regret that I never had children of my own. Mm-hmm. I planned on it, but then when I married my husband and his ex gave up the 3 kids, and so I got 3 kids 100%, and I never got to have any of my own.
It isn't about letting go of your anger. It isn't even about letting go of anything with Melissa. It's about letting go of beating yourself up for not having your children yourself, and really putting your energy into that, because you deserve that kind of compassion for yourself.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Good
All right.
job.
Thank you.
I have been doing also is being part of this annual Grammar Bee. And this is a televised program that's shot in Southern California where high school kids come and compete. And it's so wonderful to be there. I'm the Grammar Bee judge, but instead of being judgmental, I'm really there supporting them and hoping that all of them will win. And in a sense, they're all winners just by being on the program. But we also do give away scholarships for these kids. And oftentimes these kids are first-generation American. Their parents may not even speak English. They may have not had any breaks so far and may not have ever thought about being able to afford college. So it's a really wonderful thing to be participating in that.
Okay.
Sharon or Chris is going to the library.
Can you say it again?
Sharon or Chris is going to the library.
Are you trying to say that both of them are going to go to the library, or no?
I'm sorry, I can't answer. Give it your best shot.
I want to go with correct as is.
You're right.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Wow, and time is up.
All right.
Let's get a big round of applause for our last three finalists. You guys, congratulations, all of you. You guys did an excellent job. Everybody did. All right, the final scores are in. Let's look at them. Trevor, 740 points. That's fantastic for 5-6 rounds of work. That is really, really great. Congratulations. Sabrina, 750 points. One question perhaps separated you guys. And Ben, 940 points. So ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means? It means we have our Grammar Bee winner. But before we do that, I want to call out Michelle one more time with a little something for me. Thank you very much. I have in my hands, and I'd like to present first to Trevor a scholarship for $1,500.
Yay!
Congratulations, Trevor, man. Well done. Well played today. Well played today. And for coming in second today, I'd like to present to Sabrina a scholarship for $2,500. Congratulations, Sabrina. Well played. My hands are covered in good. And I tell you what, congratulations once again to all of you and to all of our contestants. Ben, come on out here with me, man. Yes, Ben. Congratulations. Yeah. Really, really well played. Come on up here. Jane, will you come and join us, please?
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And here you are as our first place Grammar Bee winner, a scholarship for $5,000.
Wonderful.
Yay. A couple of times when I've been under the illusion that I've had to compromise my business for my passion or my passion for my business. And I've realized as I've started down that path that it was an illusion and it was based on my fear. One instance of this was when I was asked to come to Hollywood and pitch a TV show, a reality show based on my on-the-couch work with people. And I thought, oh, I don't know anything about pitching to networks, and so I let other people do the pitching for me. And I really felt that I had compromised myself because the way they pitched me wasn't at all relevant to who I was or the passion that I have for really helping people. It was all, how do I explain it? It was like what would sell, and you know, and it was tawdry. It was kind of cheap and tawdry. And I was quiet through the meeting, and of course I didn't get the show, and it was right that I didn't get the show. And I realized afterwards that I have to speak up and express who I really am for people to get that and do what I really do and not hold back on that. I have so much support for my passions. First of all, I have to immediately thank my husband, Lester, who has supported me no matter what the cost has been, no matter how many hours I have spent doing what I do with no guarantee that there's any financial return. He's never asked me to prove anything in advance. Even if he gulps and has any fear going on, he just kind of swallows it and says, okay, honey, if that's what you want to do. So he's the greatest that way. And then I have our daughter, who's 16 years old, and one time we were driving in the car, and it was about 4 years ago, and I had been feeling a little bit guilty about all the time I'd been spending writing up in my office, thinking, well, I could be downstairs with her, and I'm not exactly cooking dinners, and I'm not even doing the dishes. And we were riding in the car, and she was in the back seat, and she just blurted out, and she said, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you for being a writer." And I was moved to tears, but I had to keep driving. And that really said a lot for what children take away. And it's maybe not that she would remember that I had done dishes every night or cooked her home-cooked meals, but she would at least know that I had done something. I had followed my passion, and hopefully that means that she can follow hers in life, and I've been an example for that. One of the greatest self-help tips that I ever learned came from my husband, who's an engineer. And this is an actual engineering term, and it's called sunk costs. And what sunk costs are is basically the idea of not throwing good money after bad or good energy after bad. So one of the ways that I keep my passion going is paying attention to where I feel the energy. And if I feel like my energy is slumped someplace and it's something that I've been putting a lot of effort into, and I'm telling myself, but I've got to put more into it because I've invested so much already, what I try to do is say, wait a second, that's sunk cost. And in sunk cost, you let it go. And you put your energy where it really makes a difference and where you feel really aligned with it. And that's one of the tips that I talk about in my book, Enough is Enough. And that I really hope people, if they got nothing else, if they just open the page to sunk costs, that would be life-changing. I would like to be able to give some tips to people who have passion and maybe are on the precipice of starting a business, but they're not sure if they should. And that is just jump into that abyss. There will be a safety net. And if not, at least you won't have regretted not having done something in your life. And the worst regret is what we haven't done in our lives. We can always apologize for things we've done that we wish we hadn't. But there's nobody to apologize to except ourselves if we haven't done something. So that's the first tip that I would give people. And then the other tip would be to not expect things to go smoothly, and then don't beat yourself up for the things that don't work. Just use them as a lesson and keep going. And if you really believe strongly in something, whether the world is giving you feedback that it's working or not, just keep trusting yourself, because at some point the world will catch up. So one of the core values I have in the way I do business, and it doesn't matter which part of my business I'm doing, is from a place of generosity and trust, in that I don't really worry about the bottom line or think about tit for tat. I don't try to figure out how it's all going to work out, because none of us really knows how it's all going to work out anyway. Nobody who's really started their business has ever looked back 5 years later and said, oh yes, this is exactly as I predicted it to be anyway. And especially in an economy that's tight and where there's a lot of fear running, I really want to support other people, the people that I work with every day and the people who may be listening, to really, instead of tightening up, to practice loosening up even more, to give more. And it doesn't have to be money. If money is tight, then give more in some other way. Give of your time, give of your heart, give of your listening skills. And if we all practice that right now, I think that it would do a lot to create a lot of flow, which is a good word, I think, for it. A lot of flow of energy and good energy, which is what we all need at this time.
Thanks for watching this episode of Business with Passion. If you'd like more information about Jane Straus, other guests, or to be a guest on a future show, go online to tv.manygoodideas.com.